Alright, so this is the PicoCTF journal. I did this over the course of about a week, uploading an hour, about a week, uploading around an hour of work, recording around an hour of work each day. For hour one, this was the first problem that I started recording. I didn't record the tutorial since that was me testing out. That was like before I started the journal. I was, testing out, this PicoCTF, whole thing to see if it was a good fit for the final project. For the description of it, I started at 10:24 on the first day, and I started with the general skills door, which basically, PicoCTF is a game which is separated into like worlds, sort of, that are doors that you go into, and you can go in between them and that stuff, and each of them covers a different topic. Most of this journal covers the general skills door. The first one, the general skills door, was converting a decimal number to binary. I entered the solution, but it didn't work, and I realized that I didn't use the PicoCTF flag. Now the flag is basically just the string Pico capital CTF with whatever that squiggly line is, and the answer is between those two squiggly lines, and they call it a flag. So if you input you take whatever answer you get and you have it in the flag. And when I did that, when I input the answer with the flag in it, it worked. The second problem was finding a flag on the resources page. To access the resources page, I clicked on a link to it within the problem. First, I tried clicking on it, looking through the documentation for the flag. Not the documentation for the flag, looking through the documentation for the flag. But it wasn't in the documentation. I then saw and realized that the flag was on the front page of the resources. I copy-pasted the flag into the answer, and it worked. And that took a bit over an hour, about an hour and 4 minutes. There's the flag. The flag is right there. Here was a massive set of characters. That was part of the problem is hour 2. It was another general skills problem, and that was the first grep. The problem asked me to find a line within the aforementioned exceptionally large text file. I tried to do this problem in hour 1 and could not. I didn't have enough time in hour 1 to do so. This time I tried clicking on the tutorial in the help section of the problem. I searched through that to try and find what to do. It advised me to download an SSH client. Secure server hosting. And I did that somewhere on my computer. I could pull it up. But it didn't turn out to help. I actually didn't need it. So then I decided to try opening the command prompt on my own computer and using the find command on the file. And I did so, and I found the flag. The flag worked in the answer submission text. I started on the string set problem, but was unable to finish it due to the lack of time I had remaining. This one took about an hour and 1 minute. And there's the solution. PicoCTF, egrep is good to find things. Here's a problem for hour 3, very similar to the previous one. That was the string set problem, which I was resuming my work on. Problem is very similar to the previous first grep problem. In that it had a massive file that would be impossible for a human to search through. And in the file is a flag, which is the answer. To find the file, you must use a command in the command prompt application, which allows you to search files. Every computer has a command prompt. Every computer has just different ways of accessing it. The first few times I tried to execute this command, it didn't work. After I changed what the directory to the command prompt was running in, and then rerunning the command, it worked, and I got the answer to the problem. I didn't have enough time to do anything else, because I did this in about 59 minutes. here's the solution to hour 3. Right about here, I changed the directory to this, what it was in the PicoCTF thing. It didn't work there, but then after I found this thing to change what the directory was, and I then tried to do the find PicoCTF strings.txt again. It worked that time. Here's the hour 4 problem. Now you'll notice that this one, unlike the other one, is a Word document. It's just a screenshot of the previous one. That's because after I had reviewed the grading criteria, I realized that many of the previous journal entries for this didn't match up with the grading criteria. I think I was missing a whole bunch of screenshots and stuff. However, because I hadn't had the screenshots, I didn't know what my answers were for the previous one. So I had to re-figure out how to do the whole thing, the whole previous problem. That is, and it took a very long time. It took about, actually, 58 minutes. There's a solution, which is just the Word document again. Here's the problem for hour 5. It was the first grep thing. I tried to start a netcat problem, but I didn't do the netcat problem because the advice was unclear as to what netcat was and how I was supposed to use it. So I wasted a whole bunch of time trying to figure it out. So I gave up on it, and I tried the basis problem. The basis problem was a string of uppercase and lowercase letters and numbers. After plugging the string into a base64 decoder, I got the flag. After that, I tried to do the second grep problem. It was very similar to the first grep problem. I didn't realize I had done the first grep wrong. I'd used a Windows command module to find the string. Apparently, there's a way to get into the shell server, which is basically just another sort of command module, but it was like localized within the PicoCTF game. And I had completely misunderstood how to use it. I just did not realize I had to put my username and password into the thing. And then I used grep basically in the same way that I had on the command module, just using some different syntax, and then I found the flag. There is the flag right there. Grep R to find this, and then a string of letters and numbers. Here's the hour 6 problem. It's called based. Because I learned how to use the internal shell server, I decided to try and do the netcat problem, since netcat works on the shell server. After following the directions and reading the documentation in the netcat tutorial, I inputted the correct command and found the answer flag. The next problem I did was a basis problem. That was the screenshot I had used. If it hasn't become apparent yet, I was able to do multiple problems for about each hour. So the screenshots don't contain everything that I did, but they contain the most important thing that I did. I believe that for this, the basis problem was the most important one. It was the most challenging. The next one was the basis problem. After inputting the command they asked me to input into the shell server, the command returned a series of timed challenges in which they gave me a string that I had to decode. Each string was encoded with a different sort of base thing. One was in base 2, another was in base 64, another was in hexadecimal. You just had to just find decoders for those and input them into that. I did so with each challenge, and my reward was the answer flag. There's a solution. PicoCTF something about converting values. Here's the hour 7 problem. This was plumbing. The plumbing problem gave me a netcat to connect to. Connecting to the netcat gave me a long list of nonsense that would take forever to search through, very similar to the greps and distinguisher problems. The link within the help directed me to some documentation on pipes. By using a pipe to combine a grep and a netcat they had given me, I found the flag. The next problem was a where is the file problem, but I was unable to finish it because of how long the problem took. Because it took about an hour and 4 minutes. There's the solution. Files. I changed the directory to that, and then I use a grep to find it. Here's our A problem, the final problem, a where is the file problem. For the last hour I decided to try the where is the file. According to the hints I had to use the command ls and find the command which would find the command that would help me find and read files. After using the cd command to connect to the server into the problem, using the ls command got me nothing. I then decided to read some documentation on the ls command. By appending -a to the ls command according to the documentation, I found a file with a period before it. And according to the hints in the problem, I would need to find a command which could see or read files. The reason I would need to do that was so that I would be able to read the file with the period before it. After looking in info for such a problem, I found cat, a command that was the right command. It helped me read files. After using cat on the file, I found that on the file that I found with ls-a, I found the flag. I then exited general skills because I knew I could not solve the last problem in it. After exiting general skills, I entered web exploitation because it looked cool. The first problem, called inspector with fun number letters, involved me inspecting a website. The first easy part is right-clicking on the website and clicking Inspect Element, which takes me directly to the HTML code. In the HTML code, there was a comment with the first third of the flag. By going into the debugger and clicking on the CSS code, there was a comment in there as well with the second third of the flag. Rinse and repeat with the JavaScript section of the code. By putting parts together, I got the whole flag. And there's a solution to the where is the file problem. I believe that was the more important one since that was basically me finishing general skills. Alright, and that concludes the thing.